popped up on my phone that morning, that guitar solo would have probably been something completely different.
I love it. An immediate challenge accepted.
Yes. That was exactly it.
Hey, this is Danny Saber, and you're watching the All Over the Place podcast, where the fun sanity never ends.
Hello and welcome back to All Over the Place. I'm your host, Eric Pervoznik. Great to have everybody back. And as always, thank you, folks. We continue to grow in 2025. The mission to kick ass and keep on growing is because of you. Thank you so much. Keep remembering to like, share, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening or watching. You can only watch us on YouTube. So wherever you're listening, please remember to like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank Jim Culver for being part of this awesome team.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back, Jim. And Jim, as we learned in the last show, is our new comic voice. He's already got something. He's riffing already in the pre-show, so I'm digging it. And Marty's going to be jumping in a little bit later. And on that note, Marty is in Southern California, so we want to send our prayers and happy thoughts and just good vibes to everybody out there enduring the fires right now in the Los Angeles area. Things can only get better, as Howard Jones once said, and everybody, we're praying for you.
Absolutely.
And with us today, we've got a member of an all-time classic band coming back from the 80s, started in the late 70s, early 80s, and they took some time off, and they had a new album come out a few years ago together, and now we've got they're back now with a new album coming out very, very soon. I want to welcome to the show Steve Smith from The Vapors. Steve,
Hi.
thanks for joining us. You're on All Over the Place.
Hi, how you doing?
Fantastic. And I mentioned the new album, and it's called Wasp in a Jar. And I tend to get a little gushy here from time to time. And I love music. I love power pop. And folks, one of the perks of doing this gig as the host of this show is I get to hear some stuff before the rest of you do. But let me tell you, this album is kick ass. It's like you guys never went away. It sounds so tight. It's killer. And this is coming on the heels of Together, which was, not too long ago, 2-3 years. But that was after a big layoff for you guys. So what was it like making Wasp in a Jar so soon after the previous album?
Well, the last album, actually, it came out in 2020.
Oh, my God, that's 5 years ago now. I keep forgetting we're in 2025.
Yeah, and
it's got some time.
And it was actually finished a year before that. We actually had it finished for a year before we put it out. So it was like 5 years or so since the last ones. It was 5 years or so.
But still, sounding like you guys have never gone away. So what was it like getting in the studio, just making this album that is just it's just like the title says, with Wasp in a Jar, bottled anger. What tell us about the process?
Well, we basically made it like people made albums back then in 1979, 1980. It's pretty much, I mean, the bass, the drums, and the rhythm guitar were all put down live, and if anything was a little bit iffy, we did the old school drop in, drop out overdub thing, and there was very, very little use of computer stuff really. It's a very organic album, and back to our roots in the way we recorded it, as well as the style of music that we played on this album.
And now you've got Michael in there. So what's it like working with him as part of the rhythm section?
What, Michael, the drummer? Yeah.
Yes.
It's great. It's great working with him. He came, we looked for a drummer. We had Ed, we had me, and we had Dave, and we were looking for a drummer. And I've found that can be quite problematic, but Dave said, "Oh, I know a guy. I'm going to ask him." And he'd been in a band with Michael, a few years after the Vapors split, and so he just called up Michael and said, "Oh, would you be interested?" Michael said yes. We gave him a live cassette from many years ago. He learned the songs. He turned up and he kind of auditioned, but we didn't audition anyone else. He fitted straight in. He'd learned the songs, and it's great playing with him. Yeah, it's great fun.
Also, adding in David Fenton, lead singer and longtime founding member, and then adding in Danny, his son, to the mix now. So what's it like watching the interplay between father and son?
I mean, it's really fantastic. I mean, what Dan did is he brought a whole new energy to the band, and he came in really, really late on the Together album, because Ed was going to be playing guitar on that album, and then Ed got a job that he couldn't turn down really late in the day, and Dan, God bless him, he just came in and he played some blistering guitar on all those tracks at really short notice, came up with the parts, and I think he's given us a real new lease of life. Dan, he's really breathed life into us. And
yeah, I dig that.
Also,
I'm a big Van Halen fan, and when Wolfgang came in, of course, it was just the one album, and he injected, like you mentioned with Danny, just injecting such a life into it. So,
and he also lowered the average age of the band by about 10 years.
There you go. That's always a help. That looks good.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Well, and what's it like for him going out on the road, watching you guys, the veterans, and what kind of good and bad habits is he picking up from you guys?
Well, he did pick up a lot of bad habits from me, but thankfully he's sorted that out now.
Nice.
And
Jim,
he's been a fantastic addition to the band. He's a lovely guy. He's a brilliant musician. He's very good in the studio. He's very technical. He does a bit of mastering as well as a bit of mixing. He does, because all of our previous singles in between Together and this album, we all self-produced and self-mastered, and we did everything ourselves. And Dan's a big part of that. We wouldn't be able to do it without him.
And Jim, for you as a drummer, what do you got for Steve, a fellow rhythm man?
Well, obviously, it sounds like you guys found the right drummer on the first try, which is fantastic. What do you look for in a rhythm section for a band like the Vapors? What are the qualities you look for, or the skills?
It's really important that the drums and the bass kind of fit together, and they play together rather than independently of each other. That's the most important thing for me.
Yeah, I'm not auditioning, by the way. I was just curious. I was interested to hear that the album was crowdfunded, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how that decision came about and what the experience was like crowdfunding an album.
Well, it was. The Together album got funded by a fan who basically quite anonymously gave us some money to make the album. And
oh wow, so that's awesome.
That was amazing, and didn't want any credit for it, didn't want anything for it. So that was that was great, because it didn't cost us any money. And we originally started, a friend of ours in America said, look, you guys need to make, I love the last album, I want you to do another one. And he started trying to hook us up with producers, but then we realized we knew a producer in America with his own studio, and we could stay at his house, which is Mike Gibling. And then we had to sort of work out a way of crowdfunding it, work out a way of funding it, excuse me. And crowdfunding seemed the obvious way to go, but the problem I had with it was I didn't want to do another album that everyone liked, that heard it, but not really many people heard, and it kind of just disappears. I thought, if we're going to do it, let's do it properly. Let's try and raise money for pluggers, someone to plug the record in America, someone to plug the record in the UK, someone to do press for us in America, someone to do press in the UK. So like to do it properly, like a record company would do it, like a proper release on a proper label, rather than just a very small kind of just for fans kind of thing. And so we decided we'd try and raise some money via crowdfunding, and it just went bonkers. I couldn't believe how much we raised. It was crazy. It was like all in all, I would say it's probably about $25,000. Which is awesome. Like crazy. I thought we'd get about 10, to be honest. But the great thing is the more money we got, the more money we have for promotion, and we're going to make a video for the main single, and we've got a little bit of budget. We crowdfunded, not just the album, but the whole process of releasing, distributing, promoting an album, and everyone went along with it, which is great. I can't thank them enough, to be honest.
And what's that been like for you guys promoting the album? Because, back in the day, we had MTV, we had radio, we had college radio, whatever it was, that would play music from the Vapors and other, like the power pop new wave bands. But now, MTV, God knows the last time they played a video. But what's like making videos and then putting it and getting it out there on the YouTubes and the socials?
Well, to be honest, we haven't really done one since we've been back. We've not really done. We did one, like we did basically what was just a live situation video for a single we did in this last summer. But that's really been on our only experience of doing that. This is another thing. You see, this album, we've got to do it properly. We've got to get a video. We've got to get this, and that's part of the doing it properly thing. Getting a video.
Well, and speaking of YouTube and the socials, with on Decompression, which is absolutely my favorite song on the new album. Just as a rhythm guy, I just love the way that the slinky grooves you've got going on in that one. Just awesome. I love it. But I was I learned that Rick Beato, the host of, and Marty is a big Rick Beato fan. He was mentioning like he did his top 20 maddening guitar riffs, not the best, not his favorite, but maddening, and that inspired Danny to come up with the riff in that one. So do you check out any of the social guys like Rick Beato and anything like that catches your eye?
No, that's really funny. That's while we were recording the album, me and Dan was sitting outside. It was just beautiful countryside we were looking at, and I was just looking through my phone, and this thing just popped up, and it said something like the 15 maddest guitar solos in rock. So I said, "Oh, Dan, this has just popped up. Let's have a listen to them all." And me and Dan listened to these 15 maddest guitar solos in rock, and then he just went in and played that solo on that song. But if it hadn't popped up on my hadn't popped up on my phone that morning, that guitar solo would have probably been something completely different.
I love it. An immediate challenge accepted.
Yes. That was exactly it.
And I mentioned Wasp in a Jar coming out in a few short weeks. And then you guys are going to go on tour, just doing like you guys going on headlining. And then you're going on the road in the UK with Big Country.
Yeah.
And as you're rolling out the tour, whether it's, as a headliner and then, doing it in co and playing with another band, and we'll get to the big festival a little bit later that you're going to be going on as well. So what's it like for you guys to get the new songs mixed in with the catalog?
Well, we're going to find out when we played it. I don't know how many we're going to play. Probably 5 or 6 new songs. And we have songs that are kind of untouchable, really, like Turning Japanese, Jimmy Jones. There's a few. There's some album tracks that the fans really, really, really like. So, each song that comes in, really, one has to go out. It's one in, one out. So until we start putting the set list together for the first gig on the 7th of March, it's difficult to say how it's all going to fit together.
You mentioned Jimmy Jones and Turning Japanese. Obviously, you've got the certain ones that you've got to play. The fans are going to clamor for those, the hits. But how do you guys go about doing deeper cuts?
Yeah, it depends on the gig situation, really. If we're doing like when we're playing our own gigs in the Back to the Grassroots tour, yeah, it'll be a bit deeper. But when we play with Big Country and when we do the 80s gigs in the summer over there in the US, it's very much the ones that people know. Very much that. So that's kind of more the way it works. If you're playing support with someone else, you just try and bring out all your big guns.
On that note, the biggest of the guns, of course, Turning Japanese, still an amazing song, but we're in a climate now where it's potential cancel culture. What's the reception been like, or has there been any kind of a backlash, I should say, with a song that some people might find, insensitive? I mean, I certainly don't, but have you guys encountered any of that in recent years?
Just not really, a tiny bit, one or two people, but really just most people just get that it's from a different time, it's from a different era, it's a bit of fun, and don't take it too seriously.
And of course, the meaning of the song often misinterpreted.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Which is always a fun controversy.
That's a crazy story. Like with the first time we went to America, the very first time, September 1980 or something, I think it was. One of the very first interviews we did, either the first interview or the second interview, the interviewer said, "Right, so turning Japanese, that's British slang for masturbation, right?" We all looked at each other and went, I remember looking at him going, I said, "I can honestly say, mate, I never heard that phrase before until I heard the song. Until I heard this song turning Japanese. I'd never, ever heard those two words one after each other." And it basically came from America. I don't know, someone in America who just decided that that's what it was about, and it just so isn't. And it's just kind of carried on. And it doesn't matter how many times I tell the story, it still probably will forevermore.
Well, if I was wrong, if I was right, I did include that song. And when I was DJing, doing my club DJing, that middle of the sets, I would do a masturbation medley. And that one was in there along with Dancing with Myself. What else is in? Obviously, the Divinals, I Touched Myself.
Yeah.
And had to close out with Cyndi Lauper's She Bop. Can't forget the ladies.
Well, it's good company in there. Some good.
There you go.
In there.
And you helped me so well with the transition on that one, Steve. Good company is going to be had galore. Like you mentioned, coming back to the States in the summer, you're going to be on the Lost 80s tour with Flock of Seagulls. Big Country's going to be on that one as well. General Public, you guys, and many more. You guys, of course, played The Cruel World out in Pasadena last year, and now this one's going to be a full tour. What are you looking forward to most on this one?
I just love we did the 80s tour in 2019. Did it, I think it was 6 weeks, and it was just living out my childhood dreams of being in a band and going on tour and playing to people with lots of people outside and in the sunshine. It's just great. I had a great time last time, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I'll be seeing you guys. You're winding your way into the Phoenix area sometime in August.
Yes.
So I will be there with. I'm not sure if I'll be wearing my parachute pants or not. That's still TBD. I don't know. Don't have the hair that I once had back then, but I got my faux hawk as best as I can do with what little I've got. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I'm hoping that Icicle Works is still on the tour by that point as well. I know they're select dates and everything, but the ones I mentioned and you guys, it's going to be a kick-ass show, and no need for no more Aquanet necessary for me, but I'll still be there doing my best.
Excellent. Excellent.
Oh, going back to the turning Japanese real quickly again. You guys worked with Russell Mulcahy on that video, and he's one of my favorite directors. I love the visuals with him, with everything. What was it like working with Russell Mulcahy?
It was a bit. It was like something we'd never really experienced before. We were just 4 lads that used to play around pubs in Guildford, just playing our music, and all of a sudden we've got like a huge budget and a top director directing the video, and it was a bit overwhelming, really.
And you had it before Duran Duran. You broke them in.
Yeah. I mean, he did a great job. He made a very striking video that was perfect for the time.
Oh yeah. MTV, we miss you and playing videos so much. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
one thing that I've enjoyed in listening to your music, and then also with some of the newer bands, whether it's Nothing But Thieves or Kid Capiche, The Killers, you hear that influence going on throughout. Tell me about what it's like for you hearing these new guys carrying through the power pop and some of that power pop punk.
Well, you know, everyone takes from everyone else, don't you? You listen to stuff, and it either influences you because you like it, or it influences you because you don't like it. And every generation, you know, there's a lot of great power pop in the '60s and '70s, as well as in the '80s. And so, yeah, I think it's great. I love that kind of pop songs, but played with heart and energy and fire.
Absolutely. So through the ages, you've got again just so many things influencing everything else. And what on the band's website, and folks, you want to check that out, the vapors.uk. The vapors.com then .uk.
No,
and
vapors.co.uk, I think.
.co. I did get it right. Yeah, there's no dot. You know, I was thinking to myself, wait, did I misspell that? No, it's .co. Thank you. I was right. I did a copy paste. That's why that's right. Now I think it's wrong. But yeah, the vapors.co.uk. And what I love about you said your musical influences, everything you've listened to. That's perfect because we are the sum of everything that we listen to.
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, you either go, yeah, I like that, that's really great, or not so sure about that, don't like that, and it kind of does influence you. It does, I think. Well, it's everything I've heard has influenced me personally, for sure.
Well, what are some of the ones as a bass player? Some of the guys you listen to that wound their way into your DNA.
Well, first of all, Paul McCartney, but you know what I mean. I was massively into the Beatles at the age of about 7, and so I grew up with McCartney's bass playing, which still to this day I think is absolutely astounding. He always knows exactly what to play. I don't know how he does it. He's fantastic. But also I like John Entwistle from The Who, another fabulous bass player, great technique. Yeah, I'd say they're the two main ones, really. Listen to a lot of The Who and listen to a lot of the Beatles.
You can't go wrong with the Ox or McCartney, but both of those guys just such intricate, awesome bass lines. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, my two favourites for sure. And Bruce from the Jam, I thought another great bass player.
Folks, if you didn't listen to for those of us who were there in the 80s, bass lines galore, whether it's John Taylor, Gary Beers from NXS, The Cure, just so many great bass lines. Go back and listen to that. Let the groove infect your soul in a good way. Good infection.
Yeah, do. It's definitely a good idea.
And I'm not sure if I should bring this up or not, because it's one of the cool things on Wasp in a Jar and getting to listen to the tracks. You guys did a little old trick that we have the CD generation back in the 90s did. There's a hidden track on that one.
I know.
And so, I mean, do you want to talk about the song? Okay, we're good. Well, folks, for those of you buying the CD, actually, where will it still be there on the streaming services? Because I listen to it streaming because it's a preview album. But and I saw like 9+ minute song for the last one. Like, a power pop band doing a prog rock thing there. I don't know if that's the case. And then song end for album closer, and then you wait about a minute. Then a remix of the previous song, the next to last song, comes on. So are we going to be for those of the streaming generation and those listening there, are they going to catch that song as well? Is that going to be a CD only bonus?
No, I think it's on the stream. I think it's on the streaming service. You've made me think now. I'll have to find that out now.
A question. We just come up with certain things on the fly here, folks. We don't mean to throw people, but well, with Wasp in a Jar, and I asked earlier about getting the new songs in there. But what are you as the bass player looking forward to voting for most with the other band members? Say, hey, I'd like to do this song or this song or this song. What were you looking forward to playing most from the new album?
That's a different one. God, all of them really. Yeah, we started off with 20 songs, and they're the ones we ended up with. I think it's 14, isn't it, or something? So we've already ones that we maybe didn't quite like so much. But basically, for me, the songs that really excite me are kind of like the faster ones, really. I mean, I like Hit the Ground Running, Human Race, Yeah, I like those two, and Forever and Ever. The first three I really like. Maybe we should start the set with those three songs. Actually, that might be quite a good idea.
Well, you've got my vote for Decompression, which I mentioned earlier. So I'll keep the fingers crossed. Maybe we hear that one when you get here in August. And
yeah, I think
we're talking about the bass, obviously, your main instrument, but you also picked up another instrument on the song "Nothing Can Stop Us Now," and I'll let you tell our all over the place audience what that instrument is, and tell us what it was like playing something a little out of the ordinary from the Vapors.
I'd love to say that we rented a big sitar and brought it into the studio, and I learned. I mean, I could say all this bullshit, but I just played it on the keyboard, and it's an app of a sitar. I had the idea that I wanted a sitar sound, but yeah, it was we were toying with the idea. There's a pedal that you can get that you can plug a guitar into, which makes it sound a bit like a sitar. But in the end, it's a reasonably okay one that the producer had. So we just kind of went with that. But yeah, I was going to say that I'd played sitar on the back of the album, but we decided not to. Yeah.
Well, what do you think of guys like George Harrison or Brian Jones would think? Because they played the sitars on the Stones and the Beatles albums. What do you think their reaction would be to just now you've just got this app where you don't need to bring in that big instrument?
Yeah. Just plug your keyboard into it. It's great. It's really simple. It's great in the way that you can immediately start doing stuff. You don't have to learn how to play it or tune it up or anything like that. So it's great for easy access. And for us, it was perfect. We just wanted it for one bit of one song. It would have been a bit much to like hire one in, learn how to play it, mic it up. It would have probably taken a day just to do that little bit. And we only had 2 weeks in the studio to do everything. So we were pretty pushed for time. And that was one of the few instances where we used sort of modern technology.
And did I read the press release correctly? You worked with Michael Giblin.
Yes.
So did you guys record in Mechanicsburg, PA?
We did. He has a studio in his basement, a fantastic studio with some great equipment, some fantastic gear. And yeah, we went and stayed at his house, annoyed him for 2 weeks, and made an album downstairs in his basement. We had a great time, a really great time.
Well, as a native Pennsylvanian, what was it like for you guys coming from the UK and recording in Penn's Woods, or what I like to call God's country?
Well, to be honest, we didn't really get out much. We worked every day because we only had 14 days. We worked every day, and yeah, we went to the supermarket to buy stuff and things, but we really didn't go to any bars or any clubs or anything. So that was a bit disappointing. The one thing I did go to the Speedway, which was amazing. Driving those weird cars around an oval at breakneck speeds. It was great.
Well, I hope you're able to at least sample the beer you can only get in Pennsylvania. They don't allow it to come out. Yuengling. I hope you got some of that.
What was it called?
Yuengling.
No, I didn't. But the unfortunate thing is I'm actually allergic to barley and therefore beer. So
am I.
I can't drink it anymore.
Well, I don't think I'm so much allergic to it. I just don't like the taste of it. So I drink everything but beer. I'm the family embarrassment. What the hell kind of a Slovak are you? Drink a goddamn beer. I'm quoting my mother on that one.
Yeah.
We wanted to get back into something. You were in a rap rock band way back when. So what was that like? And then tell us about that. And then also the way that the evolution of rap and rock has gone over the years. Because I go back to Public Enemy and Anthrax coming together. Yeah. And just tell us what that was like for you playing it in a rap and rock band. I'll spit it out eventually. And it was first. So tell us about that.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. I got asked. I don't know why. I got asked to come and play keyboards for these basically friends of mine that I'd known from Guildford, but I hadn't seen for a couple of years. And I turned up and we started running through it. It was a kind of new romantic stuff, and it was just not very inspiring. And I just, do you know what? I can't even remember how we started turning it completely into something different. But it evolved over a period of about 3 or 4 months, and all the songs got changed, and it just became this. We had a great guitar player, a really fantastic guitar player, and it just turned into this sort of rap rock thing, and people seemed to like it, so we kept doing it. And that was really good fun. I think it was like 1987, 1988, 89, that sort of thing, that sort of time.
And how could I forget doing rap rock even earlier than that, than the guys I mentioned, of course, Run DMC and Aerosmith, but Mick Jones was doing that with The Clash, and then later with Big Audio Dynamite. I can't forget those guys.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I got right into that sort of music at the very, very beginning. I went to the first Def Jam tour in Hammersmith Odeon in London, which was like LL Cool J, Beastie Boys, Houdini. I can't remember who else it was, but it was brilliant, and I just really got into that whole thing. Public Enemy, I loved them. We were on the Yo MTV Raps show in London as well.
Nice.
Yeah, we got quite close to getting somewhere, just couldn't quite get over the line.
in company with the mighty rhyme animal Chuck D. I love it. The uncannibal rhyme animal.
Yeah, I love Chuck D.
You will never hear me speak ill of Chuck on this show. Never.
No, he's great, top man. Really like
Bass, how low can you go? I'm going to stop right now before I go any further on that one. So, but as we're wrapping up, Steve, I wanted to ask you, obviously I've known you guys through the years, and again, folks, make sure when it comes out in a few weeks, end of February is when Wasp in a Jar is going to be coming out. But for those people who don't really know the Vapors catalog that well, obviously we've got Turn in Japanese. Everyone should, if they don't know that one, they should. But aside from that one, what are 3 songs from throughout your catalog that you would want people to hear to make them a Vapors fan?
I would say Together, off the Together album, the first track on that. I would say Jimmy Jones, I would say. No, actually not Jimmy Jones. Magnets, from the Magnets album. From the new one, I'm going to say Nothing Can Stop Us Now, from the new one.
Folks, I'm not going to argue with any of those, and I will only add in the one that Brent mentioned earlier, Decompression. There's hooks all over this album, just like any classic Vapors album. There's just grooves and hooks and riffs. Make sure you check it out. And you can catch them on the Lost 80s tour later this year, coming to the States. And you guys, they're available on YouTube, Spotify, all the streamers. And make sure you check them out at their X, Instagram, Facebook pages as well. Steve Smith from the Vapors, thank you so much for joining us here on All Over the Place, and look forward to seeing you in August out here in Phoenix.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I hope you come up to Seattle for a future tour sometime. It does get funny here in the summertime.
Okay,
it's worth visiting.
Yeah.
A few days up there in the Pac Northwest. Absolutely.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Cheers, guys.
All right, folks. Well, thanks everyone for listening to All Over the Place, the official podcast of Media Pub Live, where the fun sanity never ends. And we'll be back real soon. Take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye, guys.
All Over the Place, where the fun sanity never ends.